So welcome to a live version of Cooking with Jason. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, but tonight we are going to be making a kind of a Panamanian style dinner, and this is really gonna be kind of interesting. Fairly cold out, and we're gonna grill some fish, but be similar to a Panamanian style whole fish fried. So I got the grill out, it started, and we're gonna be doing some roasted red bell pepper with that as well, and some red onions. We've got our plantains cut here. My lovely wife cut those up for me, and we've got the fish that's been marinating for 24 hours. Now this isn't a saltwater fish. This is just standard largemouth bass, but I found that they do take on good flavor, and you can make them pretty similar due to our limited fresh fish availability here in Central Illinois. It's a decent option. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, I'm going to cut my onion up. So I'm gonna adjust this so we can kind of see what I'm doing. Starting with a whole red onion, and I've got my chef's knife. I'm gonna just cut it in half, long ways. And I'm gonna cut this fairly thin because I want these to, I'm thinking I might first steam them just a little bit to soften them up, and then we're gonna pan sear them and kind of give them that nice charred flavor. So I'm gonna stand up so I can see what I'm doing. Next, we're gonna go outside and we're gonna start roasting these bell peppers. And we want these bell peppers left whole. You can tell I haven't cored them yet. I'm gonna roast each side till we get a good black sear so the skin comes off. And once that's done, we'll bring them in and we'll rinse them. At that point, we can separate them from the stem and the core and slice them and make it a really nice garnish. That adds a lot of great flavor. So as you can tell, we got the grill good and hot. It's running about 500 degrees. We're using the gas grill for the charring step of this, and we're just going to set these peppers right on there. And I usually go this way with them. You could go this way. You just immediately start hearing them pop. That's the skin searing. So we're going to let it cook there for a little bit, and we'll come back. All right, so we're back in the kitchen, and I said the fish has been marinating for some time here, and here you can see them. They're nice size. These were probably a pound or so each, caught out of a farm pond back on my parents' property. So they're not huge, but they've been marinating about an hour. The bell peppers, and I guess also show our garden off. As you can see, It's going to be a pretty decent sized garden this year. We've got about 50 feet by 15 feet worked up. We grow primarily a lot of peppers, bell peppers, a few hot peppers, tomatoes, and then we'll have squash and other types of vegetables, have some green beans out there, and we'll also put in a corn patch. So although it's fairly big for a residential garden, with all the stuff we grow, it's not enough that we can put up a lot of stuff. We'll put up salsas, we'll put up dry peppers, we'll put up frozen peppers as well. But as you can see, we started, I did the first flip. We got some good charring started. I typically find that I don't want the bell peppers to be super black all at once, because I want them to cook as well. I want them to be nice and soft. And if you focus too much on getting them good and charred on the first turn, a lot of times you'll burn them and you won't have a good cooked pepper. So I'll turn them a little early, and then we'll come back to that same side a little bit later on. So we're back in the kitchen, and I'm gonna start on the onions. So, all right, so we got a pot of water that's boiling, and it's got the steamer basket in here. So now we're ready to add the red onions, and we're gonna let them cook for 5 minutes or so, until they start to get pretty tender, and you'll see the color change on them from being that raw kind of red color that they are to being more of a pink, or they'll lighten up in color. The onions will start getting clear in color. So we're just going to add these onions to this, and we're going to put our lid on and let them steam for a little while. I didn't put a whole lot of water in this because I don't want them to boil. I don't want the water to start boiling up into the basket. I want it truly to steam. I'm going to turn the heat down on it so that it's at kind of about a medium heat. And that'll be enough to keep the water steaming, but keep it from boiling so vigorously that I lose all my moisture before the onions are cooked. So this is a standard fish grilling basket that you can buy. I think I got this in at Walmart or something like that. They're really handy. What's nice about them is you can put all your fish in it. And when you flip it, you're only flipping one. The other thing that's nice is you don't have to worry so much about the skin and stuff sticking to the grill grate. So usually you can get all 4 fish on one rack like this. You might have to manipulate them a little bit to make sure they all fit, but they do typically fit. You just put them back and forth and move them around a little bit, and you'll get them on. If you obviously need more fish than this, you can buy a second rack, but you might start running out of room on your grill. So once you get them in there, close the rack up, kind of compress it together, and we'll slide this ring down, and that keeps the grate closed. Then you have a package. So we're going to take this out to the charcoal grill. We got it going good, and we're going to go ahead and put that on there. So hang with me. So we're out here with the grill, and we got a nice hot grill, and we're going to put these fish right on there, and gonna have to figure out how we can get it on there. Should do it. It's not exactly over the hottest spot, so when I flip it, I want to flip it this end over that way so that the fish that are over here on the back side are more toward the center that on the second go. So and then we'll flip it and flop it, and we'll try to keep it on the hot spot so it cooks more evenly. So we'll move on back up to the gas grill, and we'll work on the bell peppers again. So you can see we're back up here at the bell peppers. We still have only flipped them the one time. Starting to get a good char on them. That's a good sign. Also, the skin is starting to peel away a little bit over here, so that's a good sign that they're cooking. So we just want to rotate those a little bit. Again, we want the skin to burn, not the pepper. The skin will wash off then and give you a nice tender pimento after it's all said and done. So here you can see the onions have kind of changed to that pink color already, and they're pretty much cooked. So that's a good sign. Now we can do a quick sear on them when we're about ready to serve. That'll heat them up again and give them a nice charred flavors. So we're back outside here. We're going to go ahead and flip these fish because I think they're probably getting close to ready for a flip. Oh yeah, they're looking nice. I'm going to flip them this way here. They're getting that good char on them, and surprisingly that must have been a good hot spot there because that one's looking really well. those are looking good. So we're going to go ahead and finish cooking them for another 5 minutes on this side. We might flip them back over to let them finish charring a little bit more, but right now they're looking excellent. Also worth pointing out, I went ahead and pulled the bell peppers off of the gas grill there. I'm going to let them cool down. This makes them much easier to handle when you're washing off that skin. Also, it seems to help with the skin releasing a little bit if it's cooled down just a bit. Alright, so we've got the oil and it should be hot. It's been heating for quite a while. I'm going to go ahead and turn the fire up on it because we had it at just to kind of keep it hot. But while it's heating up just a little bit more here, it's just a standard cast iron skillet. Got about a ½ inch of oil in it. And the patacones, which patacone is made from a green plantain, you cut them in about 1 inch size lengths. Could be a little bit more, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches would be kind of pushing it. And then what we like to do is, while they're soaking in water, add some garlic. So add some fresh pressed garlic to it, and that causes them to have a nice flavor. We're going to double fry these. So the first fry is just going to be as they're whole, and so you want to add them quickly. When they start to brown, we're going to pull them out, we're going to smash them, and we'll show you all these steps. And then we're going to put them back in for a secondary fry. Oil's not quite hot enough. Alright, I'm ready to start smashing them as soon as we get them cooked. So we're going to start putting them in. And the reason you only go for about a ½ inch of oil is because as you add more and more, the volume obviously gets displaced. And if you had much more than that, you would be overflowing your pan with oil. So I'm going to drop these in there. Alright, there's that. Go ahead and cover them up. Let them cook for just a few seconds. We're just about set to start pulling these out. We're going to just, I'm going to actually keep the fire on. I'm going to turn it on low. As you can see, they're just starting to get kind of toasty. And for the time being, I'm just going to set them on this plate because we're going to start smashing them and then getting ready to refry them. Alright, so what we're using is this little patacone press. We got this from Panama. It works pretty good. It's maybe not the best quality, but what I find, a little bit of wax paper on it will help out significantly for the release. So just grab you one. I prefer to use tongs. They are pretty hot. Fold it over on top of itself and then press it. What that'll produce is this nice hot flat patacone. So you can see here we've got all the patacones pressed out and pretty much uniform. Next up, we're going to go back to the onions and start getting those ready. So I've got a well-seasoned pan here. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of spray oil to it. I should have had this out already. Because I just want just enough for it to not stick. And you can tell it's already hot. So I've got my steamer basket full of onions here. I'm just going to start taking them out and throw them right in there. And just to give some of them a seared flavor. We won't do a lot of tossing and turning because they are fully cooked. But you want some color and you want that caramelized flavor of the onions cooked. So it'll give it a nice complexity where they're still soft, but some of them are charred. So let that cook for a few minutes and then we'll turn the heat down on them. So we're going to move on next to go check on the fish again. So I forgot, we really need to work on these pimentos. So instead of going out and checking on the fish, I'm going to go ahead and take them out, and we're just going to rinse them slightly. I got a little basket here in case I drop them, they don't fall down in the sink. But it's basically a little water trickling on them. You're just peeling that skin right off. If you miss a little bit, it's not the end of the world. But we want to try to get as much of it off as possible. Our first pepper here, just going to get a small bowl for putting them in. Again, with my chef knife here, I'm just going to go in and pull down a little bit, and we'll take that core right out of there. And This we can just throw in this bucket here. I'm not going to need it. Just go in here and be gentle with it. Slice right down that pepper. We want to lay it open. So I'm just going to slice it this way. And it'll be a nice garnish on top of the fish. We're going to cut that vein out there, make it its own. And as you can see, what you get is a nice pimento. One last step I'm going to do to these peppers. I've got both of them cut up, sliced nicely here. I'm going to add a little sea salt. Put them in until we're full, and they only take just a moment to cook here. See, I mean, it's literally just seconds. It's hot grease. I'm going to take them right out. Alright, so we're all said and done. I'm going to take a snapshot here at the end of the fully plated, but you can see the pimento, the seared onions, the patacones. We also have some arroz amarillo, yellow rice, and some pinto beans. You guys excited?
Yeah!
Alright. And we have ketchup and Delitas. And there is the finished product.